Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda and I'm from amandacrochets.com, and in today's tutorial I'm going to be teaching you how to make the granule stitch. The granule stitch is a good preparation and understanding how bobbles are constructed. The granule stitch has a knobby texture to it that's just made using the Picot stitch. You are working an additional chain into these picots as part of a single crochet. So the single crochet stitches help anchor the chain, which then creates a tiny bobble effect. So as you can see, all those little tiny bobbles create that beautiful texture, and this will be a very pretty project depending on what color bobbles that you use, whether you use a solid color or you use a self-striping color or even multiple colors. This will make a very fun project. This might seem very difficult, but it's actually very easy. So let's follow along and I will show you how to make the easy and beautiful textured granule stitch. So for today's tutorial, you're just going to need some worsted weight yarn. You can use any worsted weight yarn you like, but I'm just going to be using Hobby Lobby I Love This yarn. And this is 100% acrylic, and it's a 7-ounce skein, and recommends a US I9 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. You can use whatever yarn that you would like, whether it's worsted weight yarn or a DK weight or bulky weight yarn, as this is just a practice swatch for today. So again, I'm going to be using I Love This yarn by Hobby Lobby. And I'm also going to be using the recommended hook size, which is an I9 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. So to start your granule stitch, you're going to need to make a multiple of 4 plus 1 and then 1 more for the foundation chain. So that means you multiply any number by 4 to get your base chain. When you're satisfied with your width, you're going to add 1 more chain to the very end, and then you're going to add an additional chain to the foundation chain just to keep everything in balance. So for the purposes of today's tutorial, I'm going to be making 18 chains. So to make a chain, you're going to do yarn over your hook and pull through that loop. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. So once you have your chain, you're going to make 1 single crochet into the second chain from your hook. So the loop on your hook does not count. You're going to count 2 chains from your hook, so 1 and 2, and in that second chain you're going to make a single crochet. So to make a single crochet, you're going to insert your hook into that second chain, yarn over your hook, pull through that loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and that completes your single crochet. So to complete row 1, you're going to make 1 single crochet into each chain across. So again, in that very next chain, you're going to insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And again, you're just going to make 1 single crochet in each of the chains across for row 1. Okay, so here's what row 1 is going to look like with all those single crochets. To move on to row 2, you're going to chain 1 and turn your work. You're going to make 1 single crochet into that very first stitch. So you're going to skip that chain 1 that we just made, and you're going to make 1 single crochet into this very first stitch. Make sure to get both of those loops in order to complete the full stitch. Now if you're a beginner, I highly recommend getting a stitch marker and marking the very first stitch and the very last stitch of each row, and then that way you can tell where your last stitch is and where your beginning stitch is, so that way your edges are straight. And as you move on to when you move on to each row, you will just simply take that stitch marker out and then move it up along the row. and that will help keep your edges straight. So after you make your first single crochet into the very first stitch, you're going to make one picot single crochet into the next. So to make a picot single crochet, you're going to insert your hook into the next stitch, and you're going to pull up a loop just like that. And then you're going to yarn over and pull through one loop, and you're going to do this 3 times. So that's 1, 2, and 3. So in a way you're kind of making a chain 3. Now you have 2 loops remaining. You're going to yarn over your hook and pull through both of those loops on your hook. And then that is what the picot single crochet looks like. Now you want to make sure that your chain is in front, so you want to just give it a little push in front, and in the very next stitch you're going to make a single crochet. So whenever you make your picot single crochet, you always want to make everything on the same side, so just make sure that everything is pushed to one side. And then all you're going to do is you're going to repeat this to the very end. So what you're going to do is in that next stitch, you're going to make that picot single crochet. So again, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through the first loop, yarn over, pull through the first loop, yarn over, pull through the first loop, so that way you have a chain 3, and then you're going to yarn over and pull through both loops on your hook. Again, you're going to make sure you push that chain 3 in front, and you're going to make a single crochet in the very next stitch. So I'll show you that one more time, and then you're just going to repeat this for the remainder of your row. So the very next stitch, you're going to insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through the first loop, yarn over, pull through the first loop, yarn over, pull through the first loop. So you have a chain 3, and then with those last 2 loops on your hook, you're going to yarn over and pull through. Then you're going to push the chain 3 forward, and you're going to make a single crochet into the next stitch. So again, just repeat that all the way down, and I will show you how to move on to row 3. Okay, so I have 2 stitches left. So again, I'm going to be making that picot single crochet. And then in my very last stitch, you have that single crochet. So this is going to be the back of your work, and everything's going to be flat, and then when you turn it over, you're going to see those little bumps from the granule stitch. So that's why it's important to make sure that those picot single crochets are all on the same side, so that way everything stays on one side of the work. So to move on to row 3, you're going to simply chain up 1 and turn, and you're going to make 1 single crochet in the very first stitch as well as in each stitch across. So that very first stitch is going to be right here, and you just want to make that stitch as such. Now when you get to the picot single crochet, it might be a little bit difficult to see, but if you turn your work over, you could see those 2 loops right here. Those are the loops that you're going to go in. So you're actually going to be going a little bit behind that picot single crochet, and you're going to go behind just like that in those 2 loops and make your single crochet. So again, here's our next picot single crochet. So instead of going right here in the front, you're going to turn your work. You're going to find those 2 loops which are right here, and you're going to go in those 2 loops, to complete your single crochet. So again, you don't want to just make a single crochet in each of the stitches across your row. Okay, and then when you get to the end of your row, don't forget to mark the first and last stitch of your row if you're using the stitch markers. And this is what 3 rows look like. So again, you want your work all to be on the one side, which is why in between those rows you're going to be working just a simple single crochet row. Okay, so to move on to row 4, you're going to chain 1 and turn. You're going to make a single crochet into the first 2 stitches. So in that very first stitch, make a single crochet, as well as the stitch after that, make a single crochet. Then after that, you're going to make 1 picot single crochet into the next stitch. So again, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through that first loop, yarn over, pull through that first loop, yarn over, pull through that first loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And then you're going to push that forward and make a single crochet into that next stitch. Then you're going to repeat this until you get to the last stitch, and the last stitch of your row should be a single crochet. So just repeat this all the way down. 1 picot single crochet, 1 single crochet, and in the very last stitch you should have 1 single crochet. Okay, so I'm coming up to the end and I have 2 stitches remaining. In the last 2 stitches of row 4, you're going to make 1 single crochet in the last 2 stitches. Just like that. Next you're going to chain 1 and turn. So if you look at your rows now, again the granule stitch is all on the one side, and you have the stitches kind of offsetting. So you have 2 stitches here, and then in the middle you have that next one. So that is why for row 4 you have 2 single crochets at the beginning and 2 single crochets at the end. So for row 5 you're going to make 1 single crochet into the very first stitch and in each stitch across. So again, you're going to go right in that first stitch and in that next stitch, and then when you get to that granule stitch, you're going to turn your work a little bit, find those 2 loops, and go right behind that. So you're just going to make 1 single crochet in each of the stitches across for row 5. And again, just be sure that you're going behind that chain 3 or that picot single crochet. This will definitely be a fun little stitch if you wanted to use it in a project such as a baby blanket or anything that you would like to make with this project. Okay, so you can kind of see that the little bumps are raised, and again they're all on the one side. So that's how you would do the granule stitch. So if you wanted to make more rows, you would just simply repeat rows 2 through 5 until you reach your desired length or width, and you would make this over and over again. Like I said, you can make this into a scarf or a cowl, a baby blanket. You could probably even make it for a dishcloth. I bet those little bumps would probably be very helpful when scrubbing your dishes. So you're just going to repeat row 2 through 5 all over again. So I will very quickly go through row 2 through 5. So for row 2, you're going to make a single crochet into the very first stitch, and then you're going to make a picot single crochet into the next. You're going to repeat this over until you get to the very end. Then for row 3, you're going to make a single crochet row. Row 4, you're going to make one single crochet in the first 2 stitches, and then begin your repeat of 1 picot single crochet, 1 single crochet until you get to the end. And at the end you're going to have 2 single crochets, and then for row 5 you're just going to have another single crochet row. So just repeat rows 2 through 5 over and over again. You can always pause the video and rewind and go back and learn how to do rows 2 through 5 all over again. Make sure that those bumps are all on the one side, so the one side of your work is completely flat and the other side has those bumps on it. So I'm going to go ahead and repeat rows 2 through 5 over again so you can see what the stitches look like when you have a few more rows. So once I have that, I will meet back up with you and show you what the granule stitch looks like. So I repeated rows 2 through 5 one time just so you can get the desired effect, and as you can see, all those bumps creates a very nice and beautiful texture to this stitch. And then if you flip it over again, you have that flat side. So you can definitely use this granule stitch if you wanted to add a little bit of fun texture to any crochet project, and I bet it would look very pretty if you use multiple colors in a striping effect. I'm sure it would look even pretty when you use a self-striping yarn. If you were to use some kind of multicolored yarn, you might not be able to see the effect just as clearly as you would with the solid color, but you can always test it out and see what it looks like. That's why I always recommend making a small swatch in order to see what your project looks like before committing to a bigger project. So again, this is the granule stitch, and I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial and give this stitch a try. Please like, comment, and subscribe to see all future videos by me, and as always, happy crocheting! Bye!